Hey guys, it's Janie from the League-Kempner house in Galveston. When last we left, I had given up all hope of finishing this drainage project on my own and called my husband for help, but I needed to head up and do one more thing before I left for the day. Okay, sorry for the bad angle up here, but it's probably hard for you to tell on the video, but these are much shorter than the ones I'm working on at home, and they're actually configured slightly different. They have the same basic designs and shapes, but because it's smaller, they did them slightly different. So I don't know if this will be big enough for what I need, but this is one of the pieces I'm missing right here. I'm going to mold it. We're missing the top piece over there. That I should be able to fudge and fit. This one I should be able to fudge and fit. And actually I'm going to have to stop filming and look on my phone because I took pictures of what I was missing so I would know what to mold. So I'm going to start with this one and that one because those are the two that I know for sure I need. And you've seen this before. I forgot my putty knife. I'll just have to stick my hands in there and pull it out. But this is kind of a big one here, so I'm going to get quite a bit of my stuff. Okay, my legs are tired from digging. Squatting is not fun. And we want equal amounts, so I'm going to make them into balls to compare. Oh, I did pretty good, I think. So I'll start with that. Okay. This is not working. I'm going to, oops. Sit on the ground. I'm too tired to squat like that. And I just sat in a big pile of dirt, so that'll be lovely when I get up. But you know the process. We just knead and knead and knead until it becomes a uniform color. And then press it on. And I'm not going to clean this or anything because I found that having a little dust and dirt on it actually helps it release better. I have decided I don't like this new putty as well as the original one I bought. When it cures, it is much more pliable and it tears easier. It's not as durable, I don't think. So I need 2 or 3 more sets of this to finish the project. So I did find a different brand online to order to try. This is good enough, but if we want to keep using these molds over and over and over again, I like the durable one better. And we had a request from a viewer to see if they could get a couple of the molds off this to do some clay molding with. So I would really prefer to have that more durable, a little bit stiffer putty to send to them. So we'll see how the new set comes out. But for now, this will have to do. So I'm going to roll it out to the rough shape, get it on there and get it down in all of the little crevices, and then start working my way over. And I'm going to need more because I have found that getting it on thicker is helpful. So since I have to go so thick to make up for the lack of durability, I'm probably not going to have enough of this to mold that big piece that I want. So I'll look on my phone and see if there's something smaller I can do. Not enough of the blue. But yeah, it's interesting. I've looked at it enough. I can see some of the differences in it. Okay, that works. We'll give it another squeeze. And I almost had enough, but it comes out here and I want to get all the way down to the flat part of the board. Again, these are curved, so it's not going to be a perfect fit. I should be able to accommodate some of that with the plaster just by making it a little deeper than needed and then sand that curved part off and make it flat. as we talked about, from the ground, nobody would notice if I did this or did something else in the space. Those weird flat patches didn't really show up very obvious from the ground, but we want to be as accurate as we can be. So I'm going to go back and mold in these grooves, and like I said, get all the way down to the flat part of the cornice. I'm going to build up a little bit more on this edge. And you only have so much time to work with it and get the layers to stick together. It does cure pretty fast. Within 10 minutes or so, I found it's almost to a stage where you can pull it off. It's better if you let it cure a little longer, but it's not workable for that long. It's workable long enough to get done what you need to do. So I think that's good. And I'm going to pause you guys and look and see what I can make with what I have left. Well, I do have a pretty good amount. Left. I think maybe I can do that one up there. It's smaller than this. I think I'm just going to go for it. And you can see these are in much better shape. It's not missing quite so much stuff. One of these I have at home that fell off here. It's funny, it's missing on all three. I think it's funny that the same piece fell off on all of them. And then it's missing here and here, but it has that piece on the one in the back. So these will be very easy to repair. I'll do the same thing. I'll come and do a hand test and see what's loose enough to come off and be re-glued. But for the most part, these are in pretty good shape. Okay, I think that is going to be enough to do that other end. The question is, now that I'm on the ground, can I get up? So I think that'll work. That's all the stuff I have, but those are two big pieces that are missing. So I'm going to head back downstairs and wait on the roofers to come. Sometimes you have to make a mess. Today my husband came with me to help with a project, and he had taken the truck to go buy some more pipe. And while he was gone, I got to do the really fun part of this project, and that's meet some of our fans who come from across the country to visit the house. A lot of pipe. Okay, I've been inside touring. Joe's been with the with the field trip, and Kelly's been down here digging a little bit, but we're ready to make a final cut and do some glue up and cross our fingers that we can get this thing sloped properly. With my husband back, we got busy. He and I have worked together for so many years. It's pretty seamless. We know what each other are going to do and think, but with plumbing, you just never know how that's going to work out. It is often a touchy situation, and it's a good thing when there's fast forward going on the filming, there's no sound recorded, because sometimes things happen. But this was going very smoothly. We've had a lot of changes about exactly how this pipe is going to go over to the new catch basin, and one thing that's been real critical is not having too many bends or too sharp a bend. And I keep promising y'all a nerdy video talking about water flow and all of these considerations going in, and I promise I will get to that. There just hasn't been time, so bear with me, but just to say that it was important to try to have as smooth a transition as possible, and we were very happy with the end layout that we had, although we did dig our trench much wider than it needed to be because we had some changes along the way as we thought about it.
Yeah,
okay, we did a water test. We had slope, and then we have a big leak, and it's not anything we did. It's down here. There's a rather large crack in this, probably them rolling heavy equipment over it, which is why we use Schedule 40 and not landscape piping, because it's got to be tough and durable in the ground. So now we have to cut out and rebuild this section before putting our second piece of pipe up next to it. So did you buy an extra one of those?
No, I didn't. That's why I always... I mean, we said we were going to.
But we didn't buy one. Okay.
Well, no, I bought some. I bought a couple. I have 2 new ones. We have a total of 3 right now.
Okay.
We'll need 1 there.
So now we need 1, 2, 3 just for the 2 long runs of pipe, but we need a 4th one for the shorter, the one that terminates here in the new catch basin. All right, we can add that later. We'll just stub out this and put the extension on it when we do the catch basin. So this is the part of the video where it's a good thing that there was no sound. My husband cut that section out. He glued up a replacement piece to put in, but there's a very long section of pipe to the right that we have to slide back and then slide into the new coupling. And so that long section of pipe is very heavy and unwieldy, and we weren't sure if we could pick it up and get it into the coupling. So he got everything all set up and ready, cut all the new pieces, and I'm the weight to keep everything from vibrating. And then he went to glue it up and put it in, and my job was to be at that long bend of the pipe down there and help push it in while he pulled it into the coupling, and it didn't work. We were not able to get it in before the glue set up. So there were a few choice words said, and then he had to cut it out and start all over and do it again. The second time we swapped positions, I turned the filming off because it was getting a little brutal out here, and I anchored the other end while he pushed from the long end, and we did get it in and get it finished and kind of called it a day. He stubbed out a couple of more pipes, but it was late and we needed to get on home. While he was packing up the truck with his tools, I ran upstairs to grab those molds off the cornices that I had done the day before. They were very cured at this point, and I did put it on thicker, the material, so they were a little stiffer, which makes them a little more difficult to get off, but they still come off pretty easy. So I was very happy with how they looked, and I really wanted to grab them before we went home because I wanted to pour the plaster in them and see how it worked coming from this curved cornice going over to the flat cornice that I've been working on. So I've got a couple days at home before we come back for another work day, so I'm going to spend some time on the cornices and see how far I can get on that. At some point I'll give you guys an update and show you how it's going. But it was a long day, good day, but on to the next. The drain saga continues. Kelly got here early this morning and put our safety barriers back up. We did not get completely finished, but this run is in. It's not going anywhere, and we can fill all that back with dirt and get this leveled out. This area we decided is problematic because we dug too deep. The ground is too soft and the dirt will settle. We've been through all that before in videos, and pull the pipe down, and we have no tolerance at all on the slope, so we can't have any sagging of that pipe. So we're going to leave it open and wait for some really heavy rains to settle all that dirt underneath the pipe. Now this one that's stubbed up, that's just temporary, it's not glued on. We'll extend and put a new catch basin here for runoff from this area, as we talked about. Once everything settles and we make sure that that first pipe is the right slope, then we'll finish off this second pipe. So that's not too much work left. But nothing ever goes quite to plan. We did have a horrible time. I think I stopped filming, but the original joint that was already here was broken underneath, and when we tested it, this area flooded with water. So my husband had to cut it back, put in a new joint, and get it connected. And we couldn't do it the first time. I didn't have the strength to push the pipe into the joint. So we had to cut it out, try it again, and we reversed the order of where we stood, and he was able to get it in the second time. So it looks like a bit of a mess, but it works.
It's beautiful, and I think it'll really come out nicely.
Our new volunteer Paula has been up here sweeping and wiping, and she got down and cleaned our 1893 linoleum. After a day of some cleaning tours and putting dirt in that one trench that we could, Kelly and I stayed for some Mardi Gras fun. Galveston's first Mardi Gras celebration was held in 1867. Festivities that year included a masquerade ball, a performance of Shakespeare's King Henry IV, and by 1871, Galveston's Mardi Gras had become a much more elaborate event. There were two rival crews, each hosted their own parades and balls. The general public could come to the parades, but the mass balls were by invitation only, and they were very fancy. From the 1880s to the early 1900s, Mardi Gras was scaled down due to the enormous cost with the event, but in 1910, a new crew, the Cotton Carnival Kids, organized, and a revival of the more elaborate Mardi Gras tradition continued. Mardi Gras was discontinued during a time in World War II, but it resumed again in 1949. The city-sponsored Mardi Gras celebrations ended in the mid-50s because, again, they were very expensive to continue. In 1985, Galvestonians George and Cynthia Mitchell lost a revival of Mardi Gras. And if you remember George Mitchell, we've talked about him before when Heather and I toured one of the very first buildings that he restored down on the Strand. But anyway, Mardi Gras was a big success, and it has roared back in the past 20 years thanks to George Mitchell's foresight. Now it's a 12-day event. It includes traditional street parades, theatrical performances, and galas, and there are always a lot of art exhibits. We got some material from the Rosenberg Library. They usually put out an exhibit of Mardi Gras paraphernalia that they have in their collection, and the County Museum also does some Mardi Gras exhibits. So these are two great places to go when you're in Galveston to check it out. But Kelly and I just sat back and enjoyed the parade. And I should point out we have a connection to the house from the League-Kempner house to Mardi Gras. Several of the people who lived here have participated, such as this wonderful picture of Cecile Kempner from 1928 when she was the Mardi Gras queen. I made it just in time to miss all the work on the first load. That's Alfred and Pepper heading to the house. Oops. Usually I'm not here on a Sunday, but since I stayed over for the parade, I was, and Alfred likes to work on Sundays, so he and Pepper showed up back at the lot that we've been clearing thanks to the family of Fran Kelly, who has donated a lot of the landscaping materials to the house. So they were finishing up some work to collect some of the pavers and some of the border things that we need for the garden work that we're doing over at the house. So it's always nice to visit with these guys. Okay, they got the last two loaded for today, so they're all done. So what do we always say?
Ta-da!
Ta-da! And we're going to Whataburger for lunch.
Yay!
Yay. Woo! What a Texas way to end the day. So thanks for watching. It's another busy week. We have more coming up. Be sure and subscribe and turn on your notifications. We'll be back again here at the League-Kempner house in Galveston, Texas.